I think the most important thing is about looking within.
Hello and welcome to the Heal Yourself with me, Sarah Dawkins podcast. We share people who've already healed themselves, along with health and wellness tips from myself. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Heal Yourself with me, Sarah Dawkins. My guest today is Marian Egan, who is an international speaker, author, artist, international award winner, energy healer, course creator, and healing card deck creator. With over 30 years as a holistic practitioner and combining 9 professional modalities, Marian transforms lives by addressing the root cause of physical, emotional, and mental pain, empowering individuals to heal themselves through her innovative, compassionate, and proven methods. So welcome, Marian.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me as your guest today. I appreciate that.
Oh, you are more than welcome. So you've been on quite a journey. Would you like to share with our listeners what you've healed and how you've healed it?
Well, it's only recently that I've started sharing how I ended up being in the position, that I'm in, insofar as I had a childhood trauma. And as a result of that trauma, it's what led me down this road of looking for solutions to my health problem. And I suppose if I start at the beginning, when I was 8, I watched my 3-year-old brother being fatally killed by a double-decker bus. And that literally destroyed me, because I was minding him on the day. But as an 8-year-old, I didn't fully, I took the blame, I took the shame, I took the guilt, the grief, and I lived with it for all my life. But prior to that, like 3 months earlier, as I played with my best friend, he was also fatally killed by a double-decker bus. And, as the adult now, the grown-up in me now can see, these things happen, and they happen for a reason. But that molded me into the person I am today. And I'm so grateful for what I have achieved and how I help people now to heal themselves. Because, I used to go to school and I'd wear a coat and I'd pull the hood up over my head because I didn't want people to see how badly I felt. I thought people could see how badly I felt, I didn't do well in school as a result. I think I shut down, shut everything down. So I went into that fight-flight mode. Now as a practitioner, I know what that is, and I know how to stop it and prevent that happening now. So, when you think of that cortisol running in your body 24/7, 365, it had a detrimental effect on my health. But at age 12, I was knocked down at age 12. I remember going out that day, but after that was it. Total amnesia. I didn't know who I was, so I was lost all over again. I came back to a house full of siblings. There were 6 of them. I didn't know them. I didn't know my parents. So, it was, again, another blow, another shock to the system. So at age 14, I remember being violently ill. One night, I was up all night, going to the bathroom. I was so unwell. I was vomiting. And eventually, my mum did bring me to the doctor, and he gave mom a note to the hospital just in case. But that just in case was, a godsend, because by the time mom decided to bring me to the hospital, I couldn't walk. And my appendix had ruptured, and the poison had gone right through my system. So I was in the hospital, I think, for 6 or 8 weeks at that stage, recovering, So that's the effect that cortisol running in your body has, right? And then to just to be sure. When I was 35, I was knocked down again as an adult. But this time, I could no longer suppress the feelings of guilt and blame and shame and grief. It came flooding like a volcano. So all those years I had, now at this stage I was married with 3 children, and I just kept trying to suppress the anxiety, the stress, all of that. But when I was knocked down the second time, that was it. So at that stage, Sarah, I started learning how to paint. And I went to painting classes, and I was a founder member of an art group in my area, which is still going today, 40 odd years later, right? And but then I learned how to paint from the subconscious. Now that was my saving grace, because now I was painting what I was feeling. And when you paint what you feel, it's now outside of the body, and it's on paper or it's on canvas, it's on whatever you're painting on. So layer after layer after layer just was released. So I published my book on how the art, I'm the founder of Heart Art Magic. And the magic is my acronym for my ability to go into my center. Because the magic happens in here, not outside, it's within. So that's what I started doing that, and it was just incredible. As time and time again, I just painted what I felt. So then I started facilitating workshops and allowing people to come to my practice and let them paint. And I would just facilitate, or I held space, and it's a safe place for them to do that. But then when COVID happened, as we all know, our clinics closed and doors closed. And it was then I got word that my 95-year-old mom had COVID and pneumonia at the same time. And at 95, she was already on oxygen 24/7. Now, that was, the doctor just said, this is not good. And then to add to that dilemma, my daughter informed me of her cancer diagnosis. So desperation, Sarah, just total and utter desperation. I couldn't go see either of them. And Jenny wanted me to be her mom, not her therapist, which is totally understandable. So I was thinking, okay, I had helped so many cancer patients, on my journey as a practitioner, but she didn't want that. So I said, okay, I am going to do a healing painting for Mom and Jenny every week. So every week Jenny had chemo, I did a healing painting, and I sent the energy of the painting to both of them. And when I'm painting, I sit and I meditate first. So I go inside myself. I sit, I meditate, I set an intention. And during one of my meditations, I got the inspiration to bring these images and create a card deck. And I'm saying, what? How do you create a card deck? I had no idea. But I found out how to do it, and I did it. So again, I'm so grateful for that, And it's just been an incredible journey. But, I think the most important thing is about looking within. When your body is in pain, it's your body's way of saying, excuse me, can you look at this? Because this is not right. There's something hurting me. And, most physical pain comes from, okay, if you trip and fall, that's physical pain, but most pain comes from emotional or mental upset, or you're just not happy doing what you're doing. Maybe you're not on the right path. You're not living your passion and your purpose. That it may be you've gone down a cul-de-sac, or you've gone off your main route. So basically that's what I do, as I teach people how to be the best version of themselves. And this is just that extra little help. The body has the innate ability to heal itself when it is given the opportunity for that to happen. So that's basically what I do, in a nutshell.
You talked about, first of all, painting from the subconscious mind. Could you help our listeners to understand what you did to tap into your subconscious mind and how that came out in your art and how you process through those layers?
Well, what I do is I sit and I'm quiet. I connect to my higher self. I now realized, since you get better as time goes on, right? And I was listening to a documentary just not so long ago, and the scientists were talking about this 0 point field, which is out in the universe. And I just realized that's what I tapped into. I tapped into that 0 point energy field and got the inspiration to do what I do, to allow people to heal themselves. So it's literally setting your intention. What I also did, Sarah, was I took an A4 diary when I was doing my cards, and I sat down and I put down, number one, what's my intention for today? And I wrote down what my intention was, and then I chose 3 cards, like a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I installed the frequency numbers. And then the next day, that was day 2, day 3. This morning, now I'm on journal number 7. No, sorry, it's journal number 6. I'm on journal number 6. I have chosen 4,438 cards for myself, and I install them. That's my ritual. It's like my GPS system, which again was downloaded. I call it my guidance pioneering solutions. I'm being guided. I'm on my own pioneering journey, and I have the solutions to my problems myself. And now I'm sharing it with the world. So I sit, I meditate, set my intention, and then I paint with my hands. I literally put my hands into the paint. It's just ordinary poster paint, and I do it on paper. And if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see me painting, and you'll see the cards I created, because the cards I created are on my YouTube channel. They're there, and you can see this was called Liberated. So I paint with my hands. I'm literally in touch with the feeling of the paint, the color. So like the color has a frequency, the image has a frequency, sound has a frequency, everything has a frequency. And when I tapped into this frequency, it was like, the way, if you're old enough like me, right? Like I'm in my 70s now. So way back when, you used to turn a dial to get onto the frequency of the radio station, because you'd get static white noise if you weren't on the right frequency. So that's what the tuning into the frequency is all about. When you flip your frequency, which is now what I've created, Flip Your Frequency, which is now going to be my podcast channel and TV show, Flip Your Frequency, because your frequency is either on or it's off. If it's off, you're not switched on. And I teach people, and my cards actually help people to switch their frequency on. So that's how I do it. And when I set the intention and I write down what it is I want to do, and I install the frequency number, now I'm on the right track. And it's amazing. It's so simple and it's so easy, and anyone can do this. Anyone.
Thank you. So how would you recommend somebody who's wanting to heal from emotional traumas to do like you did and go into painting to express themselves? What words of wisdom would you give them to help themselves?
Well, the first words of wisdom I will give is because, when I ended up in bed 25 years ago, my family were taking care of me, because like that, the accident, like the 2 traumas that I had with the cars took their toll, and I couldn't sit, stand, or walk. So I ended up in bed for months, and I'm in my bed, and I just had to learn how to be. I wasn't a wife, a mother, a washer up, or cook, or cleaner, or therapist, right? I was a human being, not a human doing. So I wrote this poem for myself, and it says, I called it Forgiveness for Freedom. I forgive myself for all the times I did not like myself. I forgive myself for all the times I did not love myself. I forgive myself for ever hurting anyone. I forgive anyone who has ever hurt me. I forgive them and me for me to be free. That's the first thing. Forgiving yourself is the first thing. Liking and loving yourself is the second. And when there's no blame and no shame, then you're not living in that fight-flight mode, because the fight-flight mode will run cortisol, which is damaging your organs. But when you shut off the cortisol, and how I help people shut off the cortisol is by installing frequencies. So the cortisol is now shut off. So what happens is the serotonin, dopamine, melatonin, oxytocin, all those natural healing hormones that we have in our body starts to come in and heal, repair, recover, and rejuvenate new cells. So first thing is forgive yourself, like and love yourself, and be the best version of yourself. So it may not necessarily be painting, because there's people out there saying, I don't like painting. Don't do something you don't like, but you might like music. Turn on some music. The sound has a frequency. Going out to walk in nature has a frequency. If you stand by a tree, it has a frequency. The grass has frequency. Nature has frequency. Nature is a wonderful healer. So do what you will do. And I say to people too, they say to me, Marian, what is the best form of exercise? And the best form of exercise, do you know what that is? It's the one that you will do. Don't ask me to go swimming. I can swim. I don't like it. So I'm not going to do it. So do what you like, do what you love, and become your own best friend. Become your own best friend.
And that is quite profound, because a lot of people are in that not liking parts of themselves, and not trusting themselves as well because of what they've been through. So learning to come back into ourselves and trust ourselves and be our own best friend is fabulous.
Yeah, well, you see, the conditioning, like if you think of the conditioning we grew up with, who do you think you are? You need to know your place. What is your place? We all have a place. We're all special. We're all in this together. We're here for a purpose. So when you live your passionate purpose, which I'm so grateful that I have found mine, but I found it through the torment and the tears and the desperation. But I've just come to, and what I love about what I do is, and people have said this to me, well, why don't you keep that to yourself? I mean, that's, when I'm given the solution, I will share the solution, because everybody needs to know you can heal yourself, but your body has an innate intelligence to heal itself. When you cut your finger, like a small child cutting its finger, nearly the next day or the day after, it's healed. When you get older, it takes a bit longer because we're older and we don't have the same quick healing facility. But, your body knows what to do. But if you're constantly worrying and stressed about what people might think or say about you, that's their problem. It's not your problem. Don't take on a problem that's not yours. Own your own. Do something about your own, but you cannot fix anybody else. Like, I've had people come to me here. I've been 30 plus years in practice now. And people say, gosh, I'm so glad I found you, because now you're going to be able to fix the problem. And I say, no, excuse me. I said, the only person that's going to fix your problem is you. But I'm going to give you the tools that you need, because my mission is to empower people to heal themselves. Teach a child to ride a bike, teach a child to fish, teach, and then you can be the best version of yourself just by doing. Does that make sense?
It does. And thank you. And you've shared such a lot, but if you were to share one tip for somebody going through emotional turmoil now, what would that be?
Well, the first thing is, is this problem, is it yours? Do you own it? If you own it, you can do something about it. If it's not yours, there is nothing you can do. So it's recognizing, who am I the problem? Is this problem mine, or does it belong to somebody else? If it belongs to somebody else, you need to step back and leave it with the person it belongs to. We cannot fix anyone else. We can only look after ourselves. The same way when you're on a plane, you're told, put on your own mask first. right? Because it's key to life. You cannot help anybody else until and unless you take care of your own needs first. So if somebody's in emotional pain, there's something in their life that's causing that disruption. So it's knowing where to look. And what I have come up with is a protocol of, okay, where do you look first? Physical, emotional, mental, nutritional, spiritual. What is it? Where is it? And I teach people how to do that.
Thank you. And where can people find you, Marian?
So on my website, it's marianegan.ie. You can look at my YouTube channel, which is Marian Egan Transformation Health. But the best place is the website, because there's a calendar link there that people can book a 10 or 15 minute, have a discussion, have a chat. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your own healing.
You're welcome. But as I do, the analogy I use, Sarah, is if your sink and bath and shower are blocked, there's no point trying to unblock them. You go outside the house, you lift the shore, you find the blockage in the shore, you pull the blockage out, the sink, the bath, and the shower will clear themselves. Your body is virtually the same thing. What I do with my Flip Your Frequency is find out what's stopping and blocking you, eliminate what's stopping and blocking you, and then rewire and refire your passionate and purposeful life that you want to live. That's my Flip Your Frequency. 3-step system.
That's fabulous. And it sounds so simple too, but it takes a lot of work.
Well, it took me a long time to get to where I am, but I'm so grateful to have found the solutions, and I'm so grateful that I share them, because people need to know there's a lot you can do when you know what to do and how to do it. And I'm very willing to help anybody who wants to find their own path and their own journey and to heal what's hurting.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing on Heal Yourself with Sarah Dawkins.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you for having me, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Please share this podcast with anyone who you think will benefit. And can you leave me a review wherever you've listened to it to help me reach more people? Thank you.